All right, now before I get started talking about Die Hard 5, I thought I'd talk a little bit about the first four films. Now, Die Hard 1, don't really have to say much. It's an action classic. I love the film. I've loved it since the first time I saw it, I think back when I was in middle school. Die Hard 2 is a great sequel. It's not as good as the first one, but still, nonetheless, a very enjoyable sequel. And I was actually surprised when I found out so many people didn't like Part 2. Part 3 is my second favorite of the franchise. It's great. I think Bruce Willis, and Samuel L. Jackson were great together. And just, it's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's my second favorite of the franchise. Part 4, again, underrated sequel. Yes, it was PG-13, and the unrated cut doesn't really help it a whole lot. Um, but nonetheless, I enjoy Live Free or Die Hard. It's not a perfect film, but I saw it in the theater when that came out, and I had a lot of fun, and I still enjoy it to this day. And be, when A Good Day to Die Hard was announced, I was sort of looking forward to it, despite the fact that John Moore is not a very good director. I haven't seen Max Payne, but I've seen enough clips of it to know that it's probably not a very good movie. Um, and before I went to see Die Hard 5, Good Day to Die Hard, I decided to sit down and watch Behind Enemy Lines, which I believe was the first movie John Moore directed. And I didn't get a chance to finish watching it because I had to go to work the next day when I started watching it. So, and I still haven't finished watching it, and it's actually been 2 days since then. um, so far, it's a decent movie, but there's a lot of really weird, shaky camera work. Like even when there isn't an action scene going on, it seems like John Moore can't hold the camera still to save his life. Um, but I haven't seen Max Payne. I've seen Flight of the Phoenix and the Omen remake. Um, and the Omen remake, nah, it's not very good. And Flight of the Phoenix is okay, but it's really not anything special. And I've actually seen the original Flight of the Phoenix, and um, there's really not a lot to the original film or even the remake. They're both essentially the same movie. It's just a plane crashes in the desert. They rebuild the new one from the wreckage, and they fly away, and that's it. There's nothing else to the film besides that. But getting to this one, having I saw all the trailers that were coming out, all the TV spots, and I was getting really excited for it. I thought, okay, this looks really good. And then I found out that it was rated R, and um, I got even more excited. Finally, we got a Die Hard rated R again. But then eventually I found out that the writer of the movie was Skip Woods, who's the same guy that wrote X-Men Origins Wolverine, which is a crappy, shitty fucking movie. Um, so I got a little bit more concerned after that. But nonetheless, I was still excited. I was seeing the TV spots every day. I was getting hyped up and hyped up. And finally, it came out. I went to see it on Thursday, opening day. I went with a friend of mine who also wanted to see the film. Um, and I would just like to state right now that I did not hate the movie, but I didn't love the movie either. Not nearly as much as the first four films. And I know the movie got horrible, horrible reviews, and even a lot of other people just downright hated the film. And again, I don't hate it, but this is one of those situations where I can see why people don't like it. Like the fourth one, other than the fact that it's PG-13, I don't really see why people hate the movie so much, or why people hate Part 2 so much. This one, on the other hand, I get it. This one, I can't really defend. And I'm going to get into why. I'm not really going to go over the plot because it's really the plot is nothing much to run home about. But the basic idea is that now John McClane is in Russia. He's going to go see his son because he was arrested for murder, and he wants to see what's going on, if he can help. Something or other happens that involves this political prisoner. His son Jack is, you find out, is in the CIA, and he's trying to help this guy escape Russia. John McClane sort of gets involved in all this, and the rest of the movie sort of goes from there. And let me just get to what I liked first. I liked the action sequences. I liked Bruce Willis acting-wise. And I didn't mind Jai Courtney acting-wise. Okay, so that's three things that I liked. But ultimately, for me, the biggest problem with this movie is where the fuck is John McClane? Because in this entire film, John McClane is not there. All you get is just Bruce Willis being Bruce Willis. In my opinion, there is nothing that Bruce Willis had to say or do that made me realize, hey, this is Bruce Willis. This is, I fucked up. This is John McClane. Because if you look at the first four films, there's a lot of wisecracks, there's a lot of great one-liners, there's a great sense of humor. There's none of that here. There's no memorable lines of dialogue, no funny one-liners. There's none of that. And the film is not even that funny. I think I chuckled twice, and both times were at the end of the movie. The rest of the time, all the other attempts of humor weren't very funny. At least I didn't think they were. Jai Courtney, like I said, I didn't mind him acting-wise. I didn't give a fuck about his character. In fact, I thought his character was a whiny, ungrateful douche. Seriously. And I hated this. They did this in the fourth one, too, where his daughter also resented him and didn't like him. And I hated that. I don't understand why both of his kids don't like him. And they never really give you a good reason for it. So, he's going through all this crap in all these movies, and his kids just sort of resent him, despite the fact that he's put his life on the line for a bunch of people, throughout the years. But yet his kids don't like him. And most of the dialogue that they gave Jai Courtney is him just bitching and complaining about what a horrible dad Bruce Willis was. Oh, you horrible dad. Oh, you were never there. And I don't know what that's like. Blah, blah, blah. Wow. Yeah, I like this guy already. But seriously, that was... And that's the thing, too. Since they teamed him up with a different person after part 3, like in the first... in Die Hard with a Vengeance, it was great. Him and Samuel Jackson had such great chemistry together, a great back and forth. Even him and Justin Long I liked better. And here, there's no great back and forth between the two. I forgot half the shit they even said to each other. The only thing I remember is fucking Jai Courtney whining, complaining for most of the movie about what a horrible dad Bruce Willis was. And it made me not like his character. It made his character seem like a whiny douche. The same way that in part 4, they made his daughter look like a whiny, bratty bitch. And it seems like his kids can't even, start to care about him again unless they get involved in the scenario that John McClane is in. And also, again, the villains in this are pretty pathetic, pretty forgettable, lame villains. Even more so than Timothy Olyphant in the fourth one. The villains in Good Day to Die Hard, they make Timothy Olyphant look like Hans fucking Gruber. Okay, that's how fucking lame they are. And of course, you got a fucking twist at the end, which I won't give away because I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody. That you can kind of see coming a mile away. And I know some people are thinking, well, what about the R rating? R rating? This movie might as well have been PG-13. Other than 3 headshots and 2 F-bombs, both of which are said by Bruce Willis. And yes, he does say, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. The movie might as well have been PG-13. The R rating didn't do anything for the film. It didn't make the movie any better. Um, but ultimately, I mean, that's my biggest problem. There's no John McClane is not in this movie. If this was called anything else besides Die Hard, then it would just be, a typical action movie, and I would have liked it probably a little bit more. But as a Die Hard film, it's really disappointing. Because, again, I'm struggling right now to even remember anything memorable that I liked besides the two things at the very end. There's a joke at the end about Bruce Willis being bald, and there's a joke that they throw in there involving a middle finger. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, I chuckled those 2 times, but the rest of the movie, the dialogue by Bruce Willis, wasn't very funny. There's also a scene. It's up on YouTube where Bruce Willis gets run over by a car, and the guy that ran him over gets out, starts yelling at him in Russian, and Bruce Willis punches him out. He's like, "Do I look like I understand a thing you're saying?" Steals the guy's car, says, "That's okay, I'm fine," and drives off. Now, to me, that wasn't very funny. In fact, that kind of made Bruce Willis look like a fucking dick for doing that, for punching that guy out and stealing his car. I'm like, if that was me and I ran over some guy that ran into traffic, I'd be pretty pissed too. And again, I thought that kind of made Bruce Willis look like a douche. And like I was saying, if this was called anything else besides Die Hard, it would just be a serviceable action movie. And again, as an action movie, I liked overall the action sequences, the car chase, it's a pretty long car chase. I thought was well done. I appreciated the fact that there was practical stunt work, practical explosions, practical cars flipping over. There's some CGI, but mostly it's at the end. I really like but I really like the car chase. I like the practical explosions. The stunt work was well done. I know some people had a problem with this being like really unrealistic, and they've made John McClane like a superhero now because he never gets hurt. To me, that's not that big of a deal. It's an action movie. It doesn't have to be 100% realistic, and really none of the Die Hard films are. So that's not that big of a deal. And then you get the scenes with the helicopter shooting. The bigger scale action scenes in this movie, I thought worked well, and I had some fun with that. The shootouts themselves aren't really much of anything. It's mainly just, you kind of just see Bruce Willis or Jai Courtney shooting at something. You never actually see what they hit, and then it just cuts to somebody falling down. So that the shootouts themselves, I thought, were also kind of disappointing. They really weren't much of anything. But the bigger scale action sequences, the explosions, the car chase, the helicopter shooting at them, I thought that was well done. But I will say this: all the action that was in the trailer, that's pretty much all that's in the movie. It's just those scenes that they show you in the trailer, but you see more of them. But that's all that was in the movie. So again, I didn't hate the film, but I was just wondering, watching this time, where's John McClane? And that's something that a lot of people also complained about. And I wanted to disagree with them, but after seeing the film, I can't. John McClane is not in this movie. It's just Bruce Willis being Bruce Willis. No, it's not very funny, and the other films were. Don't tell me they weren't, but because they were. They had some humor in there that worked. Here, I chuckled twice, and that's it. There's no memorable dialogue, no memorable one-liners. I didn't think there was any great chemistry between Bruce Willis and Jai Courtney. There was no back and forth between the two of them that I thought was worth the shit, because most of it was just Jai Courtney whining and complaining about what a horrible dad Bruce Willis was. The villains are beyond lame and generic and forgettable. And, as it stands, A Good Day to Die Hard is a time waster. Now, I do want to see the movie again. When it comes out on DVD, I'll give it another watch, and who knows, maybe my opinion will change. But as it stands right now, A Good Day to Die Hard, it's disappointing. And I can just simply call the film a time waster at best, and I wish that it was better than it was because so far the franchise was doing really well. And to me, for me personally, this is without a doubt the weakest one. And I want to sit here and say that I love the film, but I can't because it just lacked what made the other films so great. Not just the action, but John McClane, the guy himself, made those movies so great. And here, John McClane is not in it. It's just Bruce Willis being Bruce Willis, and I'm running out of time. So thanks for watching, and later.